Umar Johnson. Umar Johnson. I mean, this dude just says anything for a viral moment, man. You know, he just came online the other day saying that the FDMG Academy was finished. Now, let me remind y'all, he's been collecting money since 1619. Ever since his ship from Africa came here, hit the shores of Virginia, came through Chesapeake, hit that shores of Virginia, he started collecting money. For 400 years, he finally says that the school is ready to be open. So now that the school's ready to be open, he got to get some money. So he has to come out here now and do all these podcast shows and be very controversial. Because controversy sells. So he comes, he goes on to It's Up There podcast with the brother Loon, and he's talking about the foundational Black Americans and ADOS and Pan-Africans. And man, like the guy's just saying a whole bunch of malarkey. And you know the words the W folks like to use. A whole bunch of stuff that just makes no sense.
A growing understanding of a movement called FBA.
Okay.
Pan-Africanism and FBA. Mm-hmm. How do they contrast or complement one another?
Nobody compares to Pan-Africanism. If you want to go achievement for achievement, you can put all them together. You don't touch us. Okay. And I say that respectfully, but it's the truth. Okay. ADOS FBA, respectfully, I'm going to go with both groups because they represent basically the same thing, but there are differences, right? So ADOS.
Which is a descendant of slavery.
No, they're first. FBA comes later.
Okay.
Okay, but they both exist. FBA is more popular, right?
Okay.
ADOS FBA. I don't have a problem with the American African people seeing the need to make it clear to other branches of the global African family that when you come here, you need to be clear that we built the house and rolled out the carpet for you. Be respectful in my home the same way you would want for me to be respectful in your home.
So, as he's explaining, so far so good, right? So far so good. He ain't really saying too much of anything wrong, right? Because FBA and ADOS is fairly new. We was riding this Pan-African train for a long time, and a lot of us decided to say, driver, stop right here. We getting off. We getting off the train because we saw that it wasn't beneficial. We saw that we were the only ones putting out this Pan-African thing. And Umar Johnson, right, those Pan-Africans, I told y'all he been collecting money from the school since 1619. Africa didn't... that school should have been done if he Pan-Africans, because Pan-Africans should be global, all over the world, but he wasn't done.
So the concept of that American African identity, I have no issue with it. It needs to be done. It needs to be said. This is not new. What is new about it is the adversarial stance that they are taking towards African immigrants who come here from the diaspora, and the energy that they give them, the negative energy that they give them, which supersedes the negative energy you give to the white man who enslaved you then and oppresses you now. There's nothing a continental African immigrant can do to me that can supersede what the white man has done to me. There's nothing a Caribbean, Central South American African immigrant can do to me that can exceed what the white man has done to me. So why is it I can have so much vitriol, hatred, disrespect, animosity towards someone who looks like me just because they came from another place, when the white man who's responsible for my hell here, I'm never giving him half that energy. And then on top of that, it's contradictory in this way. You still identify with the white man.
And see, I knew it wouldn't take him long to start talking crazy, right? And this is where I call cat with Umar. Umar knows darn well that most of us come out of the Pan-African teachings, a whole lot of us, and the black church. We've been giving this W man hell forever. We've been going after this W man. We're calling out, first of all, we were calling out the Latinos, not the Africans at first. The Africans tried to crowbar themselves into our business. We weren't even talking about the Africans or the Caribbean because there's only like 3 million Africans here. We wasn't talking about them, right? We were talking about the Latinos overrunning our communities. That's what we was going after. These Latinos. We wasn't going after the Haitians and these other groups. They start getting into our business. And we start saying, yo, why are you talking about our reparations? What are y'all doing? Y'all go over there. We was talking about the Mexicans and all these people coming into our communities. Right? So we've always had smoke for this W man. We've been calling this W man out forever. That's why I call Umar, he full of crap and he's disingenuous and he's not a truth teller. Because Umar Johnson knows way before there was an FBA, way before there was an ADOS, we've been giving this W man smoke. And we still giving them smoke. We've been saying that. We just getting them some straightening amongst people that look like us, that come here and undermine us, that side with the W man. But he's not done.
Don't have an issue with the concept. I take issue with the strategies and
what about if someone is saying that, all right, we look at anyone that is putting in our place and getting access to resources that belong to us because they built their core wealth off coerced labor from our people, but you can come in as an African, as a quote unquote immigrant, and get certain access to things that maybe the foundational Black Americans, what they call themselves, believe that, yo, that's our stuff. And so I don't look at the African any different than I look at any other, ethnic group that comes over and tries to take that place.
If that's the case, where is your campaign against the Latinos? Because I don't see it. Where's your campaign against the Caucasian immigrants? I don't see it. Where's your campaign against the South Asian and North Asian immigrants? I don't see it.
But see, what I think fragmented everything is the reparation talk. And so I think the reparation talk, a lot of the foundational, and I'm, I could be speaking out of school, but my limited understanding of it is, I think that they believe that the reparations belong to descendants of slaves.
Well, I'm going to say this as a Pan-Africanist, because we invented the reparations fight. It don't come from FBA. It don't come from ADOS. This was around before they were born. You feel me? Yes. Pan-Africanists gave birth to it. Reparations for me is not about different groups and sects of the race fighting for their crumb off the big pie. This should be one fight, one reparation. Do you feel me, Loon? We can split it up how we want to split it up after we get it.
Again, he's not standing on the truth and he's telling lies. He's not representing the ancestors when he's talking like this. This is a lie because he knows that those continental Africans do not practice Pan-Africanism. The Fulani and the Yorubas do not get along, right? If you fly from Nigeria and you go to Uganda, you are a foreigner. You are a foreigner. South Africans and Ghanaians and Nigerians don't get along. They're not practicing that on the continent. So how are you trying to hold us to a standard under Pan-Africanism that the darn Africans themselves are not even practicing? Right? In South Africa, they have their own tribal issues going on. Zimbabwe, we all know the stories of what's going on. So you get on these shows and you want to cape for Pan-Africanism, but so I guess the Pan-Africans all around the world and these African countries are going to fund your school. I hope so, with the way you're talking.
But by you fighting divided for the same restitution, you playing right into the hands of your enemy. There was one slavery, took some of us to the Caribbean. There was one slavery, took some of us to the Americas. There was one slavery, took some of us to Central and South America, right? But there was one African slavery. So the Africans of the world, from the continent to the British, Canada had slavery, Australia had it, right? We should all come and sit down. Let's fight this together.
See, I think they reject
You
that.
would get it quicker.
Yeah.
You would get more because guess what? It's a united front. But because we hate each other more than we hate racism, because we hate each other more than we hate racism, I don't want to unite with no black Africans. I don't want to unite with no Caribbeans. And you got Africans saying the same thing. I don't want to unite with no descendants of no slaves, right? I want to fight my own thing. So ECOWAS got their own fight. Black British got their own fight. Canada got their own fight. Black America got their own fight. And it's sectionalized, sectarian.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody communicating with each other. So the white man going to play his old game of what? Divide and conquer, separate and rule.
That's why I wanted to have a conversation about the FBA and the Pan-Africanism, because that's what's going on. Although I hear when you speak, although you're Pan-Africanist, I hear some of the stuff I hear from foundational Black Americans.
Well, remember, there's nothing wrong with advocating the rights of your unique group. A Pan-Africanist in South Africa can speak up for South Africans and still recognize the greater vision and greater goal of a united race. You see that? So as Pan-Africanists, we don't just focus on the whole. That's the goal, but we also got to take care of our people where we are. So I don't have an issue with the American African people having a black agenda for themselves that they need to carry out. It's only when you start criminalizing and antagonizing other Africans as if they're responsible for the condition you in. Loon, there's only 3 million African immigrants in this country. They are not the group most responsible for siphoning off from your set-asides. Right. You know who that would be? White women, homosexuals, and Latinos, who they rarely ever talk about.
And you know,
and let me also say this, Loon. Let us be honest. What do we know about the psychology of oppression? The victim often imitates the victimizer. The oppressed often imitates the oppressor. What do I mean by that, Loon? I don't want to be the most oppressed person. I got to find somebody and put them beneath me so I can look down on them and mistreat them. And it's back and forth between Black Africa and Black America. A lot of this is victim consciousness. I don't want to be the lowest, so I'm going to victimize and step on the American African. I don't want to be the lowest, so I want to victimize and step on the African immigrant, because in America, we're the lowest. We are the lowest in the social order. I'm not saying we internalize that.
Right.
I'm saying that's the white agenda.
Yes.
We don't want to be the lowest. So rather than build myself up, my hospitals, my schools, my banks, my trains, my import-export, you see that? My industry, my own trade market, stock market, rather than build myself up to compete with everybody else, I'm just going to demonize.
But what if it's about,
so I have somebody lower than me, because I want to do to somebody else what the white man been doing to me. And we all have that disease.
So you can see Umar Johnson, you know, he's not standing on the truth. He's not, you know, he's not doing what he should do, right? He knows darn well what FBA is and what FBA is all about. Now, do you have some people online sometimes that may be some radicals that go hard and, you know, they just say bad things about immigrants and Africans? Absolutely, right? I don't agree with that. You have Africans that come here and say bad things about us. I don't agree with that. I'm more on FBA business on what we trying to stand for. And you can't unify and have one big reparations cause like that, because you got groups that don't even see themselves as the same people. They're not operating as the same. Mandingos and Akan or Ashanti don't see themselves as the same people. So you're not going to be able to come together on one accord. Man, listen, man, whatever, man. Black Americans, the Africans that was colonized, the Jamaicans, the Haitians, in Brazil, that's not going to happen. You have to fight for the reparations and the jurisdiction where you were, but he still wasn't done.
I'm speaking universally, every African group in the world, because remember now, I've met them all. They always looking for somebody to put under their foot. If I can't beat the white man, let them join them by having somebody under me too.
So, but if it's about resources and reparations, so if it's about reparations, right, for Americans, descendants of slaves, because I agree with you. I think it shrinks the coalition when we have, like, you know, ADOS and FBA and Pan-Africanism and regular just black people who ain't doing none of that.
Pan-Africanism, our focus is the whole. We're the only philosophy in
inclusive
the world that is inclusive of everybody. Nobody else has that. They want to make you a Hebrew.
What strength is that?
They want to make you a Christian. They want to make you a Muslim. We don't have that. We believe in freedom of religion. We are about unity of the race. We see the African race as a family that we want to be cohesive.
We can split it up after we get it. First of all, who is the we? Who is the we? To be a we, you will first have to be united. Let me tell you something. Pan-Africanism is an ideology, is a dream, is a thought process. It's something that never went into fruition. It's an idea. That's what Pan-Africanism is. Pan-Africanism is not something that's up and running and function. It's functioning. No. So who is the we? I'm trying to figure out. Umar has to explain to us. We can listen, man. This guy is disingenuous. Then he goes off and says he don't see the campaign against the Latinos, the Asians. We already have those campaigns. That's what the campaigns was originally against. It wasn't against the Africans. It wasn't against the Caribbean people. They crowbarred their stuff in. We just told them to stop cosplaying and siding with W supremacy against us. Stop speaking out against our reparations. That's what we was telling them. This whole thing was initially against the Latinos coming in and overrunning black communities. So he knows all of this. He's being disingenuous. Umar Johnson, man, is just not a truth teller. He's a guy that don't tell the truth. And he's going to stand on that Pan-Africanism hill, man. And he knows that Pan-Africanism is not working, man. I don't know, but I only got to go too far in this. Y'all got to let me know what y'all think, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comments section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.